I do not. So I thought my male crab was dead. My male red claw. He is not. I was really confused at first. I've never dealt with a crab molt. I've dealt with crawfish molts in the past, but I've never dealt with a crab. So the anatomy of what's left over kind of seemed like maybe it died and was picked apart. I didn't know what happened, but check this out. Oh, what the fuck? There, a little bit is. Where's he at? He's somewhere back here. Okay, well we're not gonna be able to see him. He is locked in somewhere in the back. So let's go ahead and check his molt out really quickly. Let me go ahead and enable the flash. So here it is on top of this little custom built I did. I really don't like the way the custom built looks with this on top of it. And this little bit of water. I need to waterproof it. I didn't ever plan on putting anything up here wet, so hang on a second. Let me shut this off. Disable flash. And okay, so at first you can see it looks lifeless, completely void of life, and that's because it is. Um, it looked like his eyes were still intact and everything because that black thing wouldn't come off. He's whiter than what they usually are. There she is with her babies. Set up the aquarium because I've got to figure something else out because her eggs are going red as you can see, which means she's gonna drop soon. But he was up by the bubbler last night, and I was confused on why. And I got to looking at the eyes, and they were, dead and lifeless, and that's black, and everything else like that. And I picked him up, and he didn't move. I flipped him over with a fillet knife, and he just didn't move. So I flipped him over like this, completely clear, hollow underneath, as you can see. The legs are empty. Let me see if I can't pull his thorax. I think it's called a thorax, isn't it? I don't know if they're like an insect or not, the way their anatomy is. I'm pretty sure they're close to it, but not exactly there. So I'm going to pull this down. Here we go. Now you can see his little gonads. I think that's actually his gonopores right here. Because they aren't used for swimming, which I mean they are when they're young, but not as an adult. But yeah, these are kind of hard. These are actually hard. These are part of the shell, so yeah. Not entirely sure what that hole is though. It's not where they use the bathroom from. The poo comes out here at the end of the tail. See if I can't unfold that for you because it did fold when I closed it. There we go. There's like 3 hinges here. So the poo comes out through here like a crawdad. There's like a little crawdad or a shrimp. But that's the way you tell it's a male. It has a bell shape to it. The females, this whole piece where it connects to the legs folds down. That's where they hold the eggs. So I grabbed him and I did this right here with him, and I flipped him open. Now let's look and see. Oh, I flipped him open. Now let's look and see what is left behind. So we have looks like maybe some food particles, some yellow stuff. We have gills still. He shed his gills. That's a thing apparently. And they're actually gills. They're legit his gills. His gills. Um, but I mean, there's not a whole lot in here. There's a bunch of. This is what kind of made me think that he had molted. If you look, there's like a tarantula. I mean, there's all kinds of stringy bits left behind in the molt. Wait, hang on a second. I have a phone call. My bad. It was an alarm. But there's all this slime too. I mean, look at this stuff. It's so slime too. I mean, look at this stuff. It's so resistant. I can't even grab it. It's so damn slimy. There. Now I have a hold of it. But he has not grown another clawback yet. That'll be later. Fuck right off. But yeah. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I didn't know that they shed their gills too. I thought the gills would have come with them. I thought they would just crawled out of the body. But no, he's alive. I've seen him in here already. And as you can see, she's using the plants back there to... She's using the plants to climb out of the water back there. But yeah, guys, I learned something new already. I learned something new already inside of the little fish keeping world here. And there's one of my little ghost shrimp. Just, he's still there. He's just a little bitty dude just bobbing along. But I have to get a king pleco because these aren't doing enough for the algae inside here. The pleco's not. The Coridora. I mean, the Coridora, the snails, they're trying, but they're not able to keep up. I have not shut the light off for a day or two now on purpose to kind of get the algae to grow. So now I do definitely need a king pleco because it is getting a green, dingy color to it, and it should not have that color. Buying another filter on top of this, and yeah, let's check out the beta tech over here. Let's go ahead and... I keep clicking mute when I keep meaning to disable flash. Let's go ahead and drag the light over since they have a shared lighting for now. But here we go. Plants are all alive. Everything you see in here is living. The soil is actually pea stone from when I bought it as. It's aquarium safe stone. And this right here is actually dirt from the local pond. I actually moved all the muck off the top of it and dug into what the plants were rooted in. And these motherfuckers are getting longer by the day. These things were not out of the... I was not out of the water last night. That one back there was, but that piece wasn't. It's growing so goddamn fast that I'm going to have to update it. I'm going to have to change it. I'm going to have to, you know, buy smaller ones. But as you guys can see, that these ones over here are vining. Their little roots, they're what are they called? Walker plants? I can't remember what they're called now. If you look carefully, you can see the snail marks in the glass for eating algae. But these ones actually don't grow from a seed. They can, but most of the time they just develop new polyps on them just by floating around the water column and growing vines and taking nutrients from the water. Hence why I don't have a filtration system on this. It's pretty much a bioactive enclosure. And it seems fine. I just had a bubbler. I just, you know, have a bubbler in the back. And the beta is going to get a bubbler. He's going to get a sponge bubbler today whenever I go to Petco. I mean, Uncle Bill's. So he's back here. He is blind, by the way, in one eye, going blind in the other. He is a super Dumbo half male. He made that bed back there. I'm not sure why, but since he is blind, he doesn't do a whole lot of moving. He does come to the surface regularly. I do feed him. He is eating, and let's go ahead really quickly and let's feed the fish. Slide that back. They know what time it is. Boom. Look at that spread out, though. Goldfish should see it in a minute, or hear it at least. Yeah, there's these big polyps that fall. That even the Coridora comes around looking for food. He knows. He scavenges off the bottom, and here comes the male fancy guppy, and here comes the goldfish. Boom. But yeah, it's a mixture of grains and pellets. I mean, grains and flakes. There he is. Let's go ahead and just drop a little on top. I don't overfeed his tank since there is no filter. This will all settle to the bottom. He picks it off the bottom versus going to the top to eat it. He does that all the time too. I'm not entirely sure why. He was doing it at the store too, but I'm gonna buy some live food for him. Something that'll get his attention to move. But as you guys see, I have feeders here. Well, the way my animals feed is odd in different ways. I have my surface dwellers, I have my medium water, and I also have my bottom feeders, which my middle waters tend to come bottom feeders. But yeah, I take the flakes, crush them up, and along with the pellets in my hand, sprinkle them in the water so the pellets are small enough that the corridor can eat them, the goldfish can eat them, and I make sure the flakes are small enough that the guppies have no problem sucking them down. Yeah, but he's a little weird guy, but everything in here, like I said, is live plants. As you guys see, the water level has dropped drastically in the last 48 hours due to the heat that's in this room. I keep it around 80 to 85 degrees constantly, hence why most of my reptiles do not have heat lights. Oh, look at the ghost shrimp! Look at the ghost shrimp! He's coming up for some. He's coming up for the food. Check that out! Look at him! Look at him! He's just trolling through. He's like, "Yeah, I'm just hanging out, guys." That's so cool. I don't know why they do that. I've seen ghost shrimp doing that recently. They've just been kind of swimming around the tank. But most of my reptiles do not have heat lamps, mainly for that reason right there, because it does stay so hot down here that if I increase the heat with the heat lamp, look like I'm wearing a jacket still, what the hell? It just makes the room too hot and I can actually overheat and potentially dry out animals with me being working a very short amount of time. So I just leave my heater running, and I am going out today on top of that since I am having to go to Walmart. I am going to be picking up some, I'm going to get it from Uncle Bill's. Fuck it, I'll spend the extra cash. I'm going to pick up some UVA, UVB bulbs that don't put out a whole lot of heat, just very little. If any at all. I don't even know, do they, I think they, I don't know if they have any that, look, yeah, he's up here picking algae up off, oh, what am I doing? He's picking algae off the glass. Just keep swimming. Does she look pregnant? She looks dumpy as hell. Look how she's swimming. That are my animals. My fish are just fat. I'm gonna buy them some UVA, UVB bulbs, and then that's gonna be what's inside of the tanks with them, or on the outside. Let me rephrase that. Not inside. You never put it inside with the snake. With certain reptiles, you can, but with snakes, it's a bad idea because they'll wrap around and cook themselves. They're actually kind of stupid that way. Good God, his eye is clearing up. It's not as white. It's almost like it's coming back. Huh. That's odd. It was like a solid milky white. Now it's kind of like it's there, but it looks like it's a little off color, but it looks there. It's weird. But he's turning sideways and he's looking down at with his good eye to see food, and he just ate something. So he is finding the food that's hitting the bottom. But yeah, I'm gonna put it on the outside of their tank. That shrimp is just cruising around. I'm put it on the outside of the tank and go from there because the lights are necessary, but the heat from the lights that I have are not. All mine are meant for like in the inevitable, like my heater goes down and I lose my heat source. Then I have everybody clicked on. I have everybody ready to stay warm. But as of right now, the lights themselves are not necessary for the heat purpose, only for the lighting aspect, which I do turn those on. But I was thinking, a regular light bulb would work. But then I was thinking there's no UVA, UVB in those light bulbs. It's just standard light bulbs, the fucking UV bulbs. So I realized that was kind of like a toss-up on a 50-50 if it would work or not. I just decided against that. So what I'm going to do, like I said, is I'm going to go out, spend a little bit of extra today, pick up the UVA, UVB bulbs that don't put out a whole lot of heat, and I'm going to go from there. But yeah, he's eating very well. And they call them Dumbos, Super Dumbo, by the way. The fins on the front are round and they're huge, and they dump it. Oh, look, here he is. He's eating. Look. Oh, you're gonna prove me wrong. No, there we go. Come on, turn. And boom, there we go. Now, just so everybody does know, my fish do get a high protein diet. I feed them Misty shrimp, M-Y-S-I, Mysi shrimp. They're in frozen blocks that I just thaw out, and I suck them up with a turkey baster. Now I'll be using pipettes, and I just squeeze them into my tank. My shrimp love them, my crabs love them, my guppies love them, my betas absolutely love them. My betas get a high protein diet. My betas very rarely do they actually get fish food pellets or flakes. They usually get live food. There for a while I was feeding off, what was it, mosquito larvae, I was feeding off nematodes, I was feeding off fruit fly larvae, I was feeding off fruit fly maggots. There was something else. I can't remember what it is, but on top of that, by the way, my microworm culture is alive still. I thought it was dead, so I'm actually, I was bummed out. I kept it, in my dresser for like 3 days, and I looked at it today, and there was a rim of live worms, and there's thousands, there's millions of them probably. So I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna go out today since we're gonna be by a Dollar Tree anyway. Run over there, pick up a nice tub with a sealing lid. I'm gonna fill it full of oatmeal, and then I'm going to just drag the edge of that and just click it in. I might use instant potatoes because everybody says those don't mold and they don't smell bad after a while. I'll do a toss up. I'll do a mixture. I'll get some oatmeal and some instant mashed potatoes. I'm looking to spend at least $40, $50 today, easily. But I did get paid last night, so it's not that big of a deal. But next week and the week after that, I do plan on picking up new beta tanks. Problem is, man, trying to find cheap tanks is ridiculous. But I do have these plastic ones up here that right now I have my female Delta in, who's absolutely loving it, and I had to take out the fake plants because they were getting a little dingy. That piece of algae, that piece of moss is dead. I gotta take it out of there. But they're like little half gallons. I mean, that's more than enough. She has a lot of room to swim around. I even put King in there at first, and he was losing it. He was swimming around having so much fun. But these 2.5 gallons, bear in mind they're $25 a piece. And these are actually a Zoo Med product right here, and these are meant for tarantulas and things like that, little reptiles. As you guys know, I have sacrificed. I bought 4 or 5 of these over the last 3 years, but I've sacrificed pretty much all of them but this one. I even began to sacrifice this one until I was like, yeah, no. And I'm still kind of looking at it, like taking off the base that's on, breaking that off, which is very simple without cracking the glass. Just having like a square glass tank and only the glass tank. But then I thought, well, moving that's going to be a bitch. At least with the lip, I could, not have to worry about scratching up the surface that it's on. Because hell, this beta tank might end up upstairs at some point. But on top of that, guys, my fish get a high protein diet. I'm going out Monday or Tuesday to pick up feeders for all the snakes. I've got 8 frozen jumbos, rats in the freezer. I've got 4 or 5 small rats, hoppers, I do believe those are. And I've got about 5 or 6 pinkies inside there too for the Savannah monitor and the little corn snakes. So I really don't need to buy a whole lot, but what I am going to do is replenish my stock, and I'm going to buy probably about $40, $50 worth of feeders. Bear in mind, guys, I get my jumbos for $5 and my my pinkies for like 25 cents. So toss up here. And that's rats, and the pinky mice are mice. But I went to Uncle Bill's the other day. Actually, it was last Tuesday because I was going to Uncle Bill's to pick up my red claws. My Thai microcrabs. They didn't come in because a shipment in Greenwood, a shipment somewhere else in Indiana ended up getting like over 3,000, and that was all the stock of the store had. So they just sent them all there. The store they order from, which is Something Aquatics, and so I'm like, okay, well, the dude's like, well, Petco might have them. They have all kinds of little micro crabs and things like that sometimes. So I went there at PetSmart, and they didn't have them. That's when we ended up walking out with the beta and the plants. I forgot where the story was going. Oh, yeah. And in their little refrigerated section, it's like a big refrigerator with glass door. It looks like a big-ass incubator. I damn near ripped it off the wall. It's attached to the floor, but it's attached to the wall, and I pulled it out about a good 1.5 feet and just barely pulled the door. The door was, like, locked on it, but it was opened. So I just kind of gave it a little bit of a harder pull. I put my hand on it, braced it, pulled it, popped it open, and that's where I found the MYSIS Mysis shrimp. Mises shrimp, I don't know. Underneath there, though, was a thing called Arctic mice, and they were pre-frozen pinkies in little bags with air in them. Well, not a whole lot of air, but enough air. And they were perfect. They looked nice. Like, they were flash frozen. Like, the pinky didn't even know what hit it. It was so humanely done. And there was a 6-pack, and it was sitting in they were all of them. They were a whole carton sitting at $3, $2.99 a piece. And I'm like, holy fucking shit, yeah, dude. So I go up front to scan it out, and the total price came to like $39.95. And I looked at us, I said, what the fuck came to that much? I said, what the fuck cost that much? He starts naming off. He's like, well, the beta was free. It's an adoption. He said, your guppy was $4. The plants were $8. The fish food I bought was $5. And that's all I bought. And then he's like, the Arctic mice were $11. And I'm thinking, that math still doesn't add up. So I told him I don't want the pinkies anymore. I told him they were in a $3 section. He's like, man, that's fucked up. And I'm like, yeah, $3, fuck. I'd have been all over that. Uncle Bill's wants $1.39 per dead or frozen, If you get live, it's like $1.40. If you buy frozen, it's $1.39. Doesn't make any goddamn sense, and they overcharge like hell for it, but hey, fuck it. But I remember what else did I buy? That's all I bought. Oh no, I took off another thing of frozen feeders because apparently they were like $12 and they were sitting in a $4 section. So yeah, $6. My bad. But yeah, guys, I just have to get going. The appointment should be soon. I just have to use the bathroom. I have to get my hair brushed, and I've got to get ready for the day. So yeah, let me show you the new tank, which has been behind me. I'm actually going to dry his molt out, and I can't cast it in resin. That's just not possible. But yeah, before I hop off, I just dropped that all over my fucking phone. Look at that. Look at that. Look at all that water. Thank God they're waterproof, right? So before I go, this Jungle Start Right dechlorination, things like that, takes the chlorine, the chloramine, and all the heavy metals out of the water. It says instantly. But I still gave it the last 10 hours or so to treat. But after I read the word instantly, I had to, thought. I gave it about an hour, and I threw 2 of my little feeder guppies inside of here. And they've been in here all night. So this stuff is immediately. These guys were in here about 30 minutes after I put in the solution. I wanted to make sure it had time to soak through, come through the filtration system, get mixed up. Tank's been running all night. It has not got cloudy yet, so there will not be any actual fish in here other than the guppies. So, I mean, I might buy a puffer. I might go get, I can buy freshwater puffers. They're freshwater while they're juveniles, and as they hit their last stages of adulthood, they become brackish water, which I know how to do that. I've been doing a bit of research on that, and I got a cousin who's had a few aquariums and stuff. That's salt water, brackish water, and, fresh water, so I can always give him a call and talk to him, like, hey, what do I need? Because I know I don't use table salt to make it, and I'll probably just buy the actual, the salt itself. But hang on a second. My house got very quiet, so I'm hoping people are gone. But yeah, I might put a little pea puffer inside of here. There's another species of puffer, I can't remember the name that they have. Which those are very, very, very hardy fish. So I mean, maybe, but other than that, I mean, the water's good. The chlorine and everything's gone, because if the chlorine and the chloramine and all the heavy metals were still in here, these little guppies would have been sacrificial. Would have been sacrificial offerings. That's all they would have been. There would have been nothing else. They would be dead. So the fact that they are still alive shows me that they are champions. And I don't know if they'll see it or not, but I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of fish food in here for them. The filter shouldn't catch it. What should happen though is it should come over here to this filter box, and the water pressure will just kind of blow it around. Which will also make it hit the water column, sink, and hopefully drift some over to them, because they like that little back corner. But I am going to be picking up some rocks on top of this. Like I said, I'm probably spending about $60 today alone. So I have about 150 to work with, so I'll have about 80, 85 left over after all this. If I'm lucky, but I do have to get ready going, so let's just one more setup on the tank here. I got my little pipettes right here. I bought a bag of 50 off Geek. Took about a week and a half to get here. All good condition, all good quality. I do have a crabby and a kingler inside of here, just because I thought it was, poetic and cute, and I wanted crabs in here too. But sadly, normal crabs wouldn't be able to make it unless they, they just live on the bottom and they're completely aquatic. And I don't know of any aquatic crabs other than the Thai micro crabs. So we off.